Yeah, welcome to our show. Now you know. Glad to be here for our 18th or so episode. Today is very exciting. I'm Cedric Smith. I'm the team leader, and meet the team.
Conrad Henry.
Nora Torres.
So yeah, welcome to Now You Know. We're excited today. We have Jared Smith. No kin to me, but he's doing good though because he got the same name. So Jared, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a licensed architect. I'm licensed in New York as well as in Connecticut. And my firm is Architect Owl. People ask me about the name. I love owls, synonymous to architects. They're overseers in the forest. And that's what architects do. We oversee projects, we help to coordinate it, and bring things together.
How hard it is? I'm wondering because how hard it is to become an architect? What do you have to do?
There's three parts of it: the schooling, there's the actual experience, like internships and such, and then there is a set of exams that you need to take. You have to kind of go through all of that before you're able to get registered with whatever state that you want to start your license with.
Okay.
So it's a pretty long process, but I think it's worthwhile.
So let's go to the backstory. What got you into becoming an architect? What inspired you?
So I originally was always into building and taking things apart. I didn't have any family in construction, so my brother and I ended up taking small things apart, TVs, radios, stuff like that. And then we were big into Legos as well. From that, I transitioned straight into to wanting to do buildings and construction. And out of high school, I went straight into college, into architecture school, and I really already knew that I wanted to be an architect just based off my interest in building and construction and stuff like that. And I just went straight through to be able to get my license to be able to do this.
All right. So when do in the whole process, when do a person should contact an architect? When do you need one?
Homeowners or buyers, it really depends on where you are in the process with your property. If you have a property, you can contact an architect. I like to expand it to the built environment, so it means that anything that is built can potentially have an architect involved, interior, exterior, landscape, and such. We do problem solving. That architects are mainly problem solvers for the built environment, and you should call when you have a problem. It's not only when I want to build a new house.
Right.
Architects can help you with problems that you have in an existing house, or when you want to renovate, or you want to expand, or you're just thinking about space efficiency. This space doesn't work. I can't really expand, but I need to make this space more efficient. A better design could help you utilize the space that you already have more for your day-to-day activities.
Okay. So should an architect be involved before or after the contractor starts doing some work?
So I tend to say that the architect is the eyes and ears of the owner or whomever is there, the end user.
Right.
So we should be on board sooner rather than later so that we can kind of help guide the process, especially if the contractor doesn't really have a real scope of work. The scope of work is very important, and if they don't understand it, they're pretty much going to push through and just do whatever's in their mind, and it might not coincide with the homeowner or whomever is the end user for the project or the property.
You could probably save some more money getting you involved in the beginning versus the scope of work being created.
Yes, unfortunately, it comes after the fact, the contractor has already started doing work. You've paid them to do that work, and then all of a sudden you have to change stuff, so they have to go back, take stuff out, change stuff, remove stuff, change layouts which they've already constructed, which then ends up being more money.
So when you get a house done and you renovate whatever, you need to get permits. Do you guys get involved with that, or is the contractor one that does the permits and stuff like that with the town?
So we will do the permits. We actually prefer to do the permits, so we make sure that all the paperwork is done correctly. And we know a lot of the municipalities throughout New York City and Westchester and Connecticut. So we deal with probably 25 municipalities. So we have a hang of what they expect, and oftentimes they'll see our drawings and know us.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to help in pushing the process through. And whenever there's revisions or any changes, they're going to contact us anyway to say, hey, we need for you to look at this, or they have questions or comments. And it's better for us to be on the line so that no information gets lost in translation
Right.
Okay.
between a third party or someone in between.
And who's usually the boss? Is it the contractor or the architect?
Oh, well, it's the person that cuts the check.
Okay.
So
Right.
the owner is really the boss.
Okay.
You know, we
Good
are
answer,
just
good answer.
Yeah, that's a
That was a good one. That was a good one.
we are usually just making sure that what they wish actually happens.
Okay.
So oftentimes we have to speak to the contractor to tell them, hey, there's a reason that we did this way,
Okay.
so that the owner gets this finished product. But the contractor may not see that vision and not see it through the whole process, so we have to help them and guide them to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about cost though? Is it real expensive to get a contractor, not contractor, architect involved or?
It really our pricing is based off of the complexity of the project, how big it is, where it's located. So it's really a one by one case. We don't have a blanket, cost for any of our projects. It really depends on how much you need us. We curate our services based off of what you need.
Okay.
A flipper or a real estate investor is going to need us less because they have properties, they have other things happening. So what they're going to do is they're going to get us for minimal services in order to get their permits, in order for them to then go ahead and do what they need to do.
Okay.
Right.
However, you'll have a single family homeowner. They're going to need a lot more service because they haven't done this before. This may be their first large project, and they're have so many questions and decisions that they need to make. So us holding their hand is a more of a process. So it can be any range between those two amounts of service depending on what is needed.
Okay. Nice. Very good. It's very informative. A lot of stuff I didn't know and how or why it's important to get architect involved from the beginning. But now we know we should really have an architect from the beginning stages rather than referring at a later point of the project.
Yes.
Random question, because I'm hearing contractors, I'm hearing architects. What's the and then you have the engineer. What's the difference? Is there a difference between architect and engineer?
Yes. So the engineer is going to be someone that's usually a bit more specialized in their in whatever they're providing. So I work hand in hand with various different engineers in order to help me with my projects.
Okay.
So the architect is usually kind of, like I said, an owl, an overseer. So we are have specialty in understanding a lot of different facets of building and construction. The engineers, like I have a civil engineer, which he helps with site connections, utilities, and the ground and foundation work. Then structural engineer, as it states, is the structure and helping with anything that needs to support the building that's being built. And then various, the MEP engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, will help with those facets, but they're very specific to doing just that one thing. So the engineers really support me in any point where I feel like I'm not able to fully take on that work. That can range because I do have an understanding where I can do all of those aspects. I do some structural engineering, some MEP engineering when I'm doing like single family smaller projects. But once we expand and get to more complex projects, I'm not going to do that. Then I bring a team together, and then we all have our specific scope of work, and then all of our stuff comes together in order to create the building that you will see the contractor putting together.
So basically, like how I just pictured everything, like you're the visionary, basically.
Yeah.
And then you know who to call and do what they need to do.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
cool. Okay.
Which is another benefit to a homeowner or a property owner is that if you have an architect and you have an issue, if I can't fix it or figure out how to fix it, then I have a deep Rolodex of people that I can call. Hey, if they need help with this, then I can explain the scope of work from my professional understanding to then relay you to an engineer or specialist to be able to help you to resolve the problem.
Nice. Have you ever taken on a project where you felt like it was too great of a risk, maybe that you wouldn't want to fulfill it, or what that process look like?
So quick anecdote. So I did have a project where it was a 2 or 3K loan, and they
Those are
didn't-
fun.
and I was brought on very late in the process. The contractor was already trying to hit the ground running. However, they didn't have a good scope of work, and one of the line items was structural work, that the foundation. And once I got there and I looked at everything, I was like, you need underpinning. Underpinning is a very expensive thing. underpinning is when the foundation needs work, but the building is there. So in order to do it, you obviously can't remove the building in order to work on the foundation. So there's a process to do that so that everything is safe and stable, so that nothing falls over. They didn't account for the costs that it would need to be done. And this was in New York City. They had like $5,000 accounted for this. This is foundation work in New York City of an attached house.
Oh man.
So the cost was going to be like $100,000,
Wow.
and they had allocated $5,000.
Oh man.
But they didn't have someone that understood what that meant and what was necessary.
Right.
So
Sound like my
from
budget.
there, and ultimately the owners, they wanted to renovate the house and not deal with the foundation.
Yeah.
So I had to gracefully bow out and say that I cannot take this project on because if my license is involved. I'm here
sure.
to protect the welfare and the safety of the public. And if you're not going to do that, then I'm not going to be able to be on the project. So I gave them all of this in writing, letting them know what needed to be done, and recommended a structural engineer for them to be able to take care of the work. And then I went on my way.
Well, you mentioned to me like before in prior conversation about insurance, that they had paid insurance afterwards and all that stuff like that.
So yes,
I didn't know. I was like, wow, that's big.
it's interesting because that ties into the question that you mentioned about architects' costs. We have our own insurance that we have when we're doing our projects. It's called professional liability. But whenever we have a project, it depends on the state that you're in. It's between 7 and 10 years beyond the completion of the project that we have to keep insurance.
Okay.
So whatever project is, we still, once it's done, we still need to maintain insurance for 7 to 10 years.
Every project,
after
or just
that.
that's even the small
Every
ones?
project,
Oh,
every
wow.
small, medium, large. It doesn't matter because if there's an issue, there's a statute of limitations that extends to that time. Where then,
Right.
if anything happens in the project,
And you're in the
there's
clear.
any issues, I need to be covered for coming back. And even if it's not my fault, I need to be covered for if it's a contractor error or something wasn't installed correctly. And I get brought into a suit. I need to be covered and to be able to state, I did my own due diligence necessary as the architect for the project.
I'm wondering, like,
interesting.
about like when you know most homeowners, especially when they're buying a house, they have the home inspection.
Yes.
It's not quite the same because they don't have the skills. I mean, it's good that they use them, but they what is it like? Should they bring you in right there before they buy the house, or what?
So I will always recommend getting a home inspection. Even myself, even from my own house that I purchased, I still got a home inspection. Even though I know everything about the house, I want fresh eyes. I want someone else to look at it. I may be clouded by the emotion of my family being in this house, even though I'm an architect, and I want them to see it and point out, hey, these are things for you to look after. And I may be like, it's not that big of a deal, knowing that I know about it.
Right,
So
right.
even myself, if I'm getting a house inspection, then everybody should.
Yeah,
It's one of those things. But
Don't forget to watch our episode on home inspection. It's very, very, very good.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
But you should have it. The architect can come after the fact if there are any issues on that report that you don't understand.
Okay.
I had a situation where there was a home inspection, and there were some issues where they flagged some things in the home inspection. I came in after the fact, and it turned out that the home inspection flagged the foundation and an addition that was done incorrectly, but they never followed up. They didn't do anything after that. And they didn't understand the problems that they were addressing in the report.
Okay.
So from there, it ended up being a real major problem, and they had to demolish the whole floor in order to repair the whole addition.
Wow.
And they had already purchased it, so now it was on them to be able to fix all of this stuff. But it was noted in the inspection report, and then their insurance denied the claim because the home inspection report said seek additional help.
Wow.
Just going back to you said about the insurances. Does your coverage protect the contractor as well, or is that solely just for you and your team?
No, it's solely just for my firm and my employees, anybody underneath my firm. The contractor is going to have their own insurance, which is very important. That they have their own insurance to cover anything that happens during the project.
Okay.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, so you get it. You get the architect. He works with the contractor. Then they have the plumber. They have the electrician. The contractor is he like the general manager? The contractor he take care of everything, and then you just guide them like that?
So typically you'll have the general contractor, and then they will have their subs, which will be the plumber, the electrician, the HVAC tech, and those people. So those are his workers. So those are the people that he's supposed to manage. However, I'm overseeing everything that's happening on the site. And if there are any issues with anybody, I'm going to directly address it to the owner as well as address it to the GC, and then they are supposed to check, correct that with their subcontractors.
Okay.
It's usually important that the general contractor is very communicative. They, can communicate well, and updating the owner as well as me as the architect during the process, so that we can kind of get ahead of any problems that may occur.
Okay, so I'm thinking about it. If you have a 203, which is like a loan, rehab loan to renovate, there's some people that don't know what it is, or home style loan, that same thing does rehab and whatever. And that before when the bank giving you that money, they want to know from the contractor what the cost is going to be.
Yeah.
Or would you be on that list, or would that be somebody separate?
So with the 2 or 3K loan, they typically will have a line item for architecture. And I should be in there, but oftentimes it kind of just gets left there, and then they do that like later down the line after the loan is already approved.
Yep.
But that means that I didn't really get a chance to see the scope of work and see the costs associated with the scope of work,
Okay.
to be able to say, hey, this is not a realistic cost. You
Yeah.
should have an increase in that, or vice versa, especially related to the project that I just mentioned, where that foundation work, if I would have saw $5,000, I would have immediately been like, this is not nearly enough. You need to have a huge amount more in order to be able to do this. 2 or 3K loans, I know that you typically will have an advisor or a construction specialist that they give you, but I find that sometimes those people are not local and they don't know the local kind of stuff. So it's probably better to have an architect on board that knows the municipality, because especially New York City, if you have someone that's from anywhere outside of New York City and you're doing a 2 or 3K loan in New York City, definitely get an architect that's from that area, because then they can speak to the local jurisdiction and any parameters, regulations that you should be aware of.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Hey, take us through, like, I don't know, because when I think about architect, I think about a bunch of papers on your floor, rulers and pencils and stuff. Like, I'm being serious, because like I walk through school and see class and I see those.
Yep.
But nowadays I know these computers now, but like back then, like take us through your process of like how you just start a project. Like, what do you do? Like, what's up?
Yeah, definitely. It's
I was
still a lot
taking
of
blueprints.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
papers and
Yeah.
rulers and yeah.
So I still do some sketching of different ideas, but even though a lot of it is online, when I was in college, we had a whole portion of the first, I believe, a year and a half where we didn't use computers yet. It was just hand drawing, and we had to literally do all of our projects hand drawn. And they were like final drawings too. We did it on with ink and Mylar, with vellum and stuff, different types of paper, in order to be able to put everything together. But usually when we have design, I try to get as much information about the site, what's around it. What's the goal, what's the parameters that the owner wishes to do, and then try to feed off of that, coupled with the house, the design, the traditional. Is there any specific style that they want to go for, and kind of blend everything together? It's hard to explain, especially because a lot of it is in my head. So like when people start explaining things about what they want, like I'm already like envisioning it in my head, and I can already kind of translate that. And then it's ideally just bringing it out of my head and putting it into, something that I can show to the owner or the investor, saying, does this look like what you expect? And then I explain what they said and how that connects to what I put together, so that they can kind of get an understanding of that.
I find it interesting. It's almost like you're a designer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like a designer.
well,
Yeah.
okay, it's like
Savant.
it's like because I'm a creative. It's like being creative. Like you're in a flow state. If you zoned out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
going
yeah.
in.
No,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
definitely. Architecture is very creative. It's the art of building.
Are you an artist? Do you have like other than? Do you feel like you have an art skill? Like you can.
So I am pretty good at drawing, but my artistic endeavors outside of architecture is in photography.
Okay.
So I was a professional photographer, pretty much doing a lot of different things as I was in architecture school. So it just kind of went hand in hand. So shooting architectural photos, but then also portrait and automotive and kind of other endeavors. But I like photography and just creating images and in the outside in the world.
So,
Yeah. I remember I had when my architect came to look. He was. I was trying to tell him what I wanted, and I said, "Well, look, it doesn't fit here. It doesn't fit." He said, "Don't do that. Just tell me what you want. don't
Yes,
do
yeah.
that."
That's a good point because oftentimes I tell clients, just tell me what you want. Don't give a restriction that you don't know if it'll work.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that it won't work. If
Exactly.
that
Right,
if
right.
is the case, I may tell you, hey, you know what, we can do this and switch this around, and we can still get the end product
Yeah.
that you wish,
Yeah.
and in a different way
Mhm.
that you may not have thought about. But that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm the architect. I will have different options or things that you just may not have even thought about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
what about some projects around it? Like, you have anything out that we should like? I want to try to drive by. Like, oh, Jared, he did that. It was like,
So most of my residential work is essentially houses, various different houses, interior and stuff like that. I do have a couple of new projects that haven't broke ground yet. So I can. My website is always, I'm trying to update it and keep it active, as well as social media with different projects. But I'm more so looking to do different new builds on different lots and stuff that's coming now. So I'll definitely have to keep you guys informed on the new
absolutely.
stuff that's supposed to be happening.
You have to be you get apprentice or to be architect. Or you have to work on somebody. Or?
So you do, as part of the experience portion, you typically need to have 3 years where you work under another licensed architect. And now they have it where you can take your exams concurrently, so that while you're doing your work experience, you can take your exams as well.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into architects having an understanding of a lot. I had 7 tests that I needed to take, from structures, different MEP, and then also different design elements, site planning, and various different things, so that we touch on a lot of different aspects of construction, to better understand the overall need for how you're going to put something together.
Nice.
Who was it I was trying to remember what that was talking to me about. It was I think it was the home inspector. He was like, "Water, not your friend. Water's the worst part of the house.
It is.
Water, not your friend."
And the way that details come together, when you're constructing a house or doing any repairs, is very important. So we are critical on making sure certain things need to be done a certain way. And that's part of guiding the contractor, especially in the finishing of anything on the exterior, is making sure that we've taken into account not letting any areas for water to get into the house, allowing for the water to, if it does get in, to be able to get out.
You working with Bernard, or you introduce Bernard to someone that's doing land and want to build a house.
Yep.
How's that process? How does that work?
So that is a very involved with my civil engineer, because when you're doing development in an empty vacant lot, you will need to bring the utilities in where they are coming from. So it depends on where they are in the city or the town. Are they right in the front of the lot, down the block, are they around the corner? So that kind of plays into the cost of doing the development, because you haven't built anything yet. You got to bring the water, the sewer, gas lines, possibly electrical lines as well, and have all of that be readily available in order to attach to the house and all of what it's going to be need before you've even really done anything.
Yeah.
So it plays a role, and then you have the land purchase price, and then there's the construction price. However, you do have the ability to make it whatever way you want, and that's the beauty of it, because then you can create all of the spaces inside and out the exact way that you and your family want it, and for your day-to-day activities and such.
Make my wife's closet this big and mine this big.
Exactly.
So when you mentioned utilities, my mind automatically went towards like electrical, but it's more so like gas and water and how that's connected to
Yes.
the plot of land you're trying to build on.
So if you have a city sewer, then you will have the connection so that you can run your sewer lines out, and then you have your water lines going in, and then gas lines, and then you need your electricity as well.
Yeah.
So all of that plays into the utilities for the house. And if you don't have sewer, then you're gonna have to plan for septic.
Right.
So you have to have the leach fields, and you have to plan out, where that's going to go. And then there's certain Department of Health requirements for having septic, where it can be located, how close to other water sources, and where on the land it can be within the property lines.
And that's something you would help prepare for the client.
So that would be the civil.
Oh, okay,
That would be
okay.
civil engineer.
And you got all these towns have
septic.
these rules about how far the house got to be back from the road. You got to know all
Yeah.
that stuff.
So the house itself and the setbacks and stuff like that, then I'm going to be responsible for giving them the information so that they know how large of a house they can construct, as well as where it can be located on the lot, how many stories, what's the maximum height, and any like kind of unique things that may pop up as they're trying to build a house.
All right. One of the questions I have is like, what about mentorship and coaching and getting kids in, especially like minority kids that probably don't know about architect, probably don't have a lot of what
Yeah, so I definitely I mentor. I have many different people that have reached out to help go into architecture, especially in high school. So I'll help them to kind of understand what architecture is, what a day in the life of an architect would be, as well as what will be helpful before they get to college, as well as what is helpful in college, so that they can understand if this is something that they're interested in. People that have an architecture degree don't necessarily have to stay and become a licensed architect. There are sometimes architects that then go into different avenues like construction, or they're like carpentry, or they can go into furniture design. So there's lots of different ways that you can go about. Architecture school kind of helps you to think.
How many years?
So typically it's going to be a 4 or maybe 5 years. A bachelor's of architecture is 5 years, and then from there, there's masters of architecture if you're going after you've already have a bachelor's. But traditionally it's probably a 4 or 5 years.
And do you have to be good in like drawing or math or anything like that? Or?
Not necessarily. There is some math involved, and there is some drawing involved, even though now it's more on the computer side. So you just have to be open to learning and new processes. Math, I liked math. I like science. Science is probably even more important. Just chemistry and physics. Physics, buildings, you want to make sure they stay up. So you should understand the physics of that. Chemistry is just the way building materials come together. You should understand what materials can come together and what cannot, because there's different corrosive effects of different materials that come together if you do it wrong. So science is very important, as well as portions of math.
Not math. Nope. Nope. All I know is add and subtract. That's it.
It's not as
And multiply.
it's not as complicated math-wise as most people make it out to be. There's a couple different equations or what have you that I do like on a regular basis, but they're not super complex. Doing structural engineering when I'm doing framing and stuff like that may get a little bit more technical, but then there's different charts and graphs that you can utilize in that respect.
But a big question: are you smarter than a fifth grader?
So what's more gratifying, the teaching aspect or finishing a project for a client?
I guess they go hand in hand, because I didn't have many mentors, especially that look like me. So now I'm trying to be that for others that are in the industry that are trying to come up. So I do enjoy, helping and teaching. But then on the same aspect, I do like finishing projects and seeing my work in front of me.
Yeah, the fulfillment of it.
It's an awesome feeling.
I'm sure.
Yeah. We're about to wrap up. So if there's one thing you wanted people to know about the thing, what would it be? And talk to that camera right there.
So like I said, architects are problem solvers. So we do more than just new houses. We will help you with solving many different problems, from the inside to the outside. And I work on residential as well as commercial work, so it can be even, business owners that are looking to open something, to be able to expand their business or just open it for the first time. So, that's what we do.
Yeah, and we're going to have Jannard information on the rollout, so you can contact him and his website. We'll have all the information there. So if you wanted to get in touch with him, and we highly recommend that you do, because it can cost you a lot of money if you don't. It can cost you a lot of money if you don't. So it's even greater than a home inspector. So although we value them as well too.
Absolutely.
So we thank you, Dave. We thank you for coming.
so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
This is good.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jared.
Now you know. Get to it.